Imagine being so terrified that the last thing you tell your family isn't call the police, it's don't call. Those were some of the final words 20-year-old Mahogany Jackson sent to her mother while she was being held somewhere against her will. According to investigators, the people accused weren't strangers hiding in the shadows. They were people she already knew. What happened over the next 24 hours shocked an entire community, and it's a case that's still waiting for justice today. This is Fruit of Evils, and I want to say up front, this is one of the hardest cases I've covered on this channel. Not because it's complicated, because it isn't. It's simple, and it's brutal, and it happened in 2024, not 1974. The people accused of doing this to Mahogany Jackson weren't strangers who snatched her off the street. They were people she knew. Stick around, because the way this unravels is going to make you think differently about the phrase safe circle. This is the story of Mahogany. Jack Mahogany grew up in Jasper, Alabama, a small city about 45 minutes northwest of Birmingham, the kind of place where everybody's connected to everybody somehow. By her early 20s, she'd made her way to Birmingham. She was a mom by then, raising a little girl who was still young enough to think her mother would just always be there. People who knew her described someone warm, someone who made a room feel less heavy just by being in it. And in February of 2024, from the outside, nothing about her life looked like it was headed toward a headline. Here's the part that I think is genuinely the most disturbing detail in this entire case, and I want you to sit with it for a second. According to the police, Mahogany wasn't taken by a stranger. She wasn't followed home. She wasn't grabbed off a street corner. Investigators say the people who would go on to hurt her were already in her life. Acquaintances, same social circle, people she had reason to trust, or at least no specific reason not to. So the days before February 24th, 2024, they looked like nothing. No warning signs anyone could point back to. That's the thing about cases like this one. The danger doesn't always look like danger. Sometimes it looks like people you already know. On the night of February 24th, 2024, that changed. Mahogany was taken captive. Court records say what followed stretched more than 24 hours. She was allegedly restrained, dragged, and subjected to sexual violence by the people holding her. Here's what makes it worse, though. Prosecutors say portions of it were filmed, by the people allegedly doing it to her. In the early hours of February 25th, Mahogany found a way to reach her mother. Not a scream for help. A text. Quiet. Controlled. Terrified. She'd been kidnapped. She needed help, and it needed to be silent. No sirens. No loud approach. She believed noise would get her killed. Police say she also managed to call family members directly while it was happening. Her mother would later describe something almost impossible to imagine, hearing pieces of her daughter's ordeal in real time, on the phone, and being completely unable to reach her. And then, investigators believe, the people holding her found out she'd reached out, that she'd told someone, and that's when, allegedly, they decided she couldn't be allowed to say anything else. On February 26, 2024, Mahogany's body was found on a remote road in southwest Birmingham, an area one of the defendants would later reference in his own police interview by a grim local nickname. She'd been shot in the back of the head. Birmingham PD didn't sit on this one. 7 suspects were in custody by February 28th. An 8th followed on March 1st. And notably, police said publicly that tips from the community were a major reason they moved as fast as they did. All 8 were charged with capital murder, kidnapping, and sodomy. Prosecutors later said the video evidence in this case was among the most disturbing they'd encountered, and that's coming from people whose job is looking at the worst things people do to each other. And this is where I have to be straight with you. This case isn't closed. There's no tidy ending here because there hasn't been a trial yet. As of now, all 8 defendants are facing capital murder charges, and prosecutors have said they're seeking the death penalty. The case is still moving through pre-trial hearings in Jefferson County. Mahogany's mother has shown up to hearing after hearing. She's spoken publicly about how hard it is to sit in that courtroom and hear investigators describe, in detail, what happened to her daughter. She's also talked about raising her granddaughter, a little girl who's still too young to understand that her mom isn't coming back. No trial date has been locked in as of the most recent reporting. So unlike most of the cases on this channel, I can't give you a resolution. I can only give you where things stand right now. There's still a lot we don't know. Whether these 8 will be tried together or separately. What exactly that video evidence shows a jury. How a case this disturbing, with this many defendants, actually plays out in a courtroom. If you know something, or this case affects you directly, Jefferson County authorities and Birmingham PD are who you contact. That's Mahogany Jackson's story, as much of it as we actually know right now. If you want to see where this one ends up when it finally reaches trial, subscribe, I'll come back to it.